Two-person best ball events are a lot of fun. There are a surprising number of names for this type of event. So let's start by defining what a two-person best ball event is in PlayThru. In two-person best ball, two players are teamed together. Each golfer plays the hole as they normally would. They all hit their own shots and record their own individual score in the scorecard. The team score is then calculated by comparing each team member's individual score on each hole. The best individual score is counted towards the team score. So if I shoot a 6 and my playing partner shoots a 3, the 3 is what counts towards the team score. At the end of the event, the best team score wins. So here's how to set up a two-person best ball event in PlayThru. Okay, to create a two-person best ball event, first thing you're going to do is hit Create Event. And you're going to give the event a name. We'll call it Demo. Okay, and we'll hit Create Event. First thing you're going to be taken to is the outing organizer. And this is where you're going to set up everything for your event. So you've got your event name there, the event date, and you can change that to be whatever you need it to be. So, and then the important part here is to go down to game format. And you're, instead of individual, you're going to go down and hit two-person best ball. So the settings you have here will dictate what shows up on the course and golfers tab. So we'll want to make sure that the game format is set to two-person best ball. You can use stroke or match play for these. You can do a stroke or points event, 18 or 9, and then you can also choose your tiebreaker. Last played or hardest holes. So a last played tiebreaker will take the two golfers who are tied and then add up their last 9 holes played. So in an 18-hole event, it'll always be holes 10 through 18. It'll add up their scores there, and the best score over those 9 holes will break the tie. If they're still tied over those last 9 holes, it'll add up the last 6, and then the last 3, and then the final hole played. On hardest holes, it'll just look at the handicap rating for that hole, and the best score on the lowest handicapped hole will break the tie. On the right-hand side, then, you can also configure it to include handicaps. You can have a handicapped event. You can also adjust the handicaps for the course. You could do flights, you could do a shotgun start, or you can also do a team game. So we're going to keep things simple here. We'll just leave this as a handicapped event. Next, we're going to go over to the course tab. So you can click here or hit Save and Next. And we're going to enter in our tee box information. So we're going to have, say, a men's tee, and we're going to type in the values for the men's tee. So I'm just going to type in some sample stuff here real quick. And if I want to, I can also quickly add a second tee. So I'll hit Add Another Tee. All the information you saved in the first tee will be copied over to the second, and we'll just call this one Ladies. All right, so now that we've got the tee box in there, next step, the final step, is to go over to Golfers tab. And this is where you're going to start to enter in your golfers for the event. So we can start by entering name Keith, email, if you've got a start time, my handicap, because we're doing a handicapped event, and I can choose between men and ladies tees. And then as I add more and more golfers, I'll then have the ability to add in team names. So to keep things simple and quick, I'm going to get rid of this. You can also import this information if you have it in a spreadsheet. So I'm going to click Import, and as long as the column headers for your spreadsheet match up with what we have here, then all of the information should funnel into the correct spot. So I'm going to choose a file. I'm going to choose my sample one here and hit Open and hit Upload. So as soon as that's done importing, I should have a full list of every golfer that I've got in the event, their email. If there's a specific starting time, we can list that there. That was part of the import. Their handicap, that individual golfer's handicap, and then the tees that they're playing from. So they can choose between men's and ladies, but I've already loaded that all into information. But the important column is this left-hand column. So this is the two best ball team name. So you can see here, Tom and Ashley for Ashley, and then Tom and Ashley for Tom down here too. So I can also sort by this column. So let's sort by team name. And now we've got both of our golfers who are part of the same team are listed here. And at any point, you can come in here and edit this. So let's just call this team, and we'll save that. And then both golfers should have their team names updated automatically. So once you've got all that set up and configured and all your best ball team names are in there and they're consistent, the important part is for these names to be consistent across both players. Because if they're slightly different, then they're not going to line up and PlayThru won't be able to do all the math it needs to combine and figure out the best score for their scorecards. But once that's all in there and they're good to go, now it's time to go over to the scorecard. So you can grab this link here, share this link with everyone, or the QR code will take you to the exact same spot. So I'm going to grab this, jump over here, and hit enter. And so that page will now load. So now when this page loads, you'll see that this is what your golfers will see. So they can go down and say, okay, I'm keeping score for Keith and Michelle, Lily, and Logan. So I'm keeping score for 4 players on one scorecard. And as soon as I hit tee off, now I'll be able to enter in their scores for each of their rounds. But the leaderboard is actually broken down by those individual teams. So if I go over to the full live leaderboard, you can see here, Avery and Emmy, Dan and Rose. So these are the individual team names. And if I click on any of them, I can see their team score, their combined score here. So the way PlayThru will look at this is the best score between those 2 players will be added to the team scorecard. And that's what will be used to calculate the scores. So if I come back over here, and so Keith and Michelle are on the same team. So say Keith gets a 6 and Michelle gets a 4. Let's do a 3 so we can see the numbers. So Keith gets a 6, Keith gets a 6, Michelle gets a 3. And I hit save and next. You'll scroll down and you can see Keith and Michelle are 2 under. Go over to the full live leaderboard and you've got Keith and Michelle 2 under because we're playing a handicapped event. And as you'll see back here, Michelle has a handicap of 3, Keith has a handicap of 1. So she got a birdie, -1 gets you a -2. And because we're doing a handicapped event, I can toggle between gross and net scores real quickly just by using that option there. And then as the event organizer, you can come down here to the master scorecard and click this icon. And as long as you enter in the PIN number that you saved over here in the scorecard tab, you'll get access to the master scorecard. And this is where you can access and edit anybody's scorecard in the event. So if I select Keith's name here, I can see my score entered here, but I can also enter in all the rest of the scores if I need to. As soon as the event is over, if you come back to the outing organizer, on the right-hand side here was this export button. If you click this button, a CSV file will download. And if I open that up, you'll see the name of the event, the link, and some of the information about how the event was set up, along with a list of all the golfers, who their teammates were, what team they were on, and then you can see the full list of all their scores. So you can see their gross totals as well as all the individual hole scores for the entire round. You can also see the net scores next to that. Below that you have your tee information, so hopefully that makes it easy to compare and contrast and evaluate the scores and do your fact checking if you need to afterwards. It's also a good way to save that stuff for record keeping for any sort of future tournaments.